softball, then you are going to love the Fastpitch TV show. We're bringing you more interviews, more videos, and more product reviews than anyone else on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Hello, I'm your host, Gary Leland, and this is the Fastpitch TV show. Now, I normally try to bring you a new episode of this show every week, every Friday, but I'm changing how I do things, and from now on, this will become a bi-weekly show. So 2 episodes a month are really an episode every other week, okay? Now, I believe the shows will be much better done in this format of doing it every other week. For example, today's show would have been 2 short 20-minute shows. Now it'll be one 40-minute show. Now, I think doing this as bigger shows will make the quality of the show much better and a lot easier to watch. You don't have to worry about coming and watching the next part, okay? So just check out my website every other week at www.fastpitch.tv for the latest episodes. That's the home of the Fastpitch TV network and the place to find all my softball videos and softball blogs. It's basically a network for Fastpitch softball. So please take a look at the website after you finish watching this episode. I also want to tell you about something new we've been doing. It's called Fastpitch Illustrated. Now, Fastpitch Illustrated is a magazine for the Apple iPad. I'm sorry for all you people that have other devices or don't have them. We're working on those, but right now we have it for the iPad. New issues come out around the first week of each month. We have great writers like Olympians Kat Osterman and Natasha Watley and many more. If you have an iPad, you really need to visit Fastpitch Illustrated today and subscribe. Just go to fastpitchillustrated.com. Now, this is not a magazine for kids. This is a serious coaching tool. Now, this week, I bring you a session I recorded at Softball Con. If you're not familiar with Softball Con, well, I'll tell you, you really need to check out their website today at softballcon.net. It's a great coaches clinic. They hold it every January in Louisville, Kentucky, and I've been to every one. Now, this week, I'm bringing you a session from Courtney Scott. Courtney is from the University of Louisville, and her session is the importance of teaching the drop ball. Let's watch Courtney's clinic now.
I'm Courtney Scott. I'm an assistant softball coach at University of Louisville. I do the pitching and the catching there in the middle of everything else. So I'd really like this to be pretty interactive today, so if that's how I'm most comfortable. So if you guys have a question, a comment, anything at any point, raise your hand, stop me, cut me off, and then we'll go. I don't have any slides or anything. It's 20 minutes, so I'm going to try and get through everything as fast as possible. In my opinion, when a pitcher asks me what the most important pitch is, other than a changeup, my answer is always the drop ball. More so than anything, when you get to our level, it keeps the ball in the park. Really, in an offensive game, a drop ball is going to keep the ball in the park. And anytime you have the offense working base to base, you're in a good position. It's very hard nowadays to get 3 hits in an inning, and that's what the drop ball makes you do. So when they're working singles, it makes our job a little easier on the defensive end. The drop ball, there are 4 different ways to throw it. We're going to probably go over 2.5. So don't mind my catcher's glove. I was a catcher in college, so I catch our girls. There are 4 ways. First way is the peel. Peel drop probably is the hardest pitch for a pitcher, pitching coach, anyone to buy into, but probably one of the most effective. My sister was a pitcher in college. She pitched at Fresno State, 4-time first-team All-American. She was a stud. I will brag about her as much. Anyone that wants to listen, I will talk about her. She probably threw 80% peel drop. There were two years she led the country in ERA. 80% peel drop, she could locate it on a dime, and as a batter, you think you're right on it, and you're just driving that ball on the ground. So it's not a strikeout pitch, it's not a glamorous pitch, but it is so effective, and if you can get a ground ball with 1 pitch, then why are you trying to strike someone out with 4, maybe 5 pitches? So this day and age, you're just trying to work with efficiency, so peel drop is hugely, hugely efficient and effective. So we'll just kind of go over the drop, or the grip first. You want to grab it on the C, okay? So the main thing with the peel drop is that you always want your middle finger and your thumb to line up. Okay? Then you just drop your fingers right back on the seam. As many fingertips you can have on a seam, the better, because that's you're gonna get a stronger snap through this release. It can be debated. This is how I threw my peel drop, this is how my sister threw her peel drop. Some people say to put your fingers closer together. The closer they are, the more they work together, and the stronger they are through the zone. If that makes sense. So, that's the main thing with the peel drop. You wanna lead your thumb through the zone. You wanna feel it off your middle finger last with a strong snap. I think why a lot of people don't buy into the drop, or the peel drop also, is that you don't see a ton of break. And that's just an illusion, kind of, pretty much, is that as it's coming through the zone, it has such a strong rotation, and it's working itself down that as a hitter, you're just pounding out of the ground. So it doesn't have a ton of break. Like I said, it's not a glamorous pitch, but for a pitcher, it's very easy to be disciplined with. It's very easy on the body. And as a pitching coach, that's what I like, something you can be disciplined with and just work and create outs, because ultimately that's all we want, just create outs. The next drop we're going to talk about is a roll. Yes?
That's all good. Could you show us how you're releasing the peel drop?
Yes.
Go through the motion.
Yes. It's going to kind of show the grips, and then the body positioning for all drops is all consistent across the board. So you're going to drive out, working your chin over your front foot. You're wanting to do this with your legs. Okay, a lot of times, which I'll get into later, there are a lot of misconceptions of how you want to get to this position. You want to do it by pushing your right leg through. So with our girls, I have put the emphasis only on their right leg. So they're not worrying so much about driving out, but they're worrying about getting here. Okay, so coming through, you have this body position. See, you always want to work on your power line. So if you're working inside, you're working right on the right of your power line. If you're working outside, you're working right on the left. Everything's super consistent, nothing glaring out. So staying in line, thumb, this is coming down together. Thumb through the zone, strong through it, feeling it off your middle finger, and staying strong through here. So you're wanting to release right in here, because that's our strongest point, is right in front of our body. So right through here, and snap it strong. You're gonna feel it big time in your forearm here. I think a lot of times why the peel isn't effective is that we don't really teach our pitchers to snap strong anymore. You know, a fastball, you see a lot of this. I don't get it, I can't wrap my mind around it. But as a peel drop, we were fortunate, my sister and I grew up pitching also. Our pitching coach started us with a peel drop, we never threw fastball. Fastball could be a huge tool because you can just spot strikes. But if you're just a little more aggressive with your body positioning and your snap, you have a peel drop, and that's a pitch you're gonna get outs with. So coming through, sorry?
Do you come up?
No, we'll talk about that in a second. But to throw a true peel drop, you're just staying strong all the way through the zone, through your catcher. So you're snapping it hard here, and if anything, just because the force is so strong, you may come up on your follow through, but you've already done all the work here. So if anything, with our girls, when we're really working our peel, a true peel, I'll put my hand here and say, I don't want you to follow through over my hand, because that makes them really do the work here on the bottom. Okay? So, you have the pitcher at our age, you give them the free shot, because if you're finishing right, like how you should, you can flip off your catcher, give them a little something. But that's how you should be following through for a true peel, of just staying strong through it. Does that answer your question? Okay. The next one we're going to talk about is a rolling peel. We have a pitcher now, we just got a transfer. She kind of throws this rolling peel, but hold it the exact same way. And as you come through, you kind of relax your wrist and snap down. Okay? This is kind of a way, if someone's not really buying in and really committing to getting strong through on a peel drop, it's a way to get them to follow through lower, because ultimately you want to follow through where you want the ball to go. So if you're coming through here, you're feeling it off your middle finger and snapping it straight down. Okay? When you get really good at it, you can snap it straight down and it'll bounce right back up to you. We don't do a lot with this pitch, but it's something you can do with the younger girls. And it's something to where they're really understanding staying strong here, feeling it off that, and snapping through. If you're getting the true peel spin, it'll be right over the top. The reason why we grab it on the seat for a peel is that you're working on the four seams. Anytime you can get the four seams working together, you're gonna get a stronger rotation, a stronger break. So coming through, if you're not really getting all the way through before you turn, you'll have a little bit of side spin. It might have a little cut on it. Anyway, it's moving through the zone and it's creating it out. Questions on that one?
What kind of drop does Carolisa throw?
She throws a rollover. Now the thing with Carolisa, when she first, it's our junior pitcher, when she first came to campus, she was primarily a rise ball pitcher. But that's, at our level, it's not something you can get lazy with. And sometimes she has a tendency to get a little lazy through the zone. Her freshman year, and granted we had some injuries, so she was a workhorse there when she didn't have full strength. I think she gave or take one or two, around 15 home runs in a season. Now she was a workhorse for us. She did a majority of our innings. We started putting the emphasis on her drop ball. Last year she gave up 2 home runs total. So for us, she gets a lot of hard ground balls. We have an exceptional defense, so we just feed ground balls all day. She had a no-hitter last year against Memphis, and I think our second baseman got 15 or 16 ground balls. That's a good day in my books, because any day you can feed your defense and they're getting outs for you, more power to them. I love that. So she throws the rollover. That's what we're going to talk about next. You want to work on the U. Okay, so coming through the zone, you want to work on these seams. I have to say too, I'm never the all say. That's what I tell our girls too. If you can tell me a different way to do it that's more comfortable, it's going to work, then I'm all for it. So these are just my opinions, so I'm open to anything too. And if you guys have a better way, then I always want to learn. So with the rollover, we work on the right side of the U. Okay, so putting the pressure, when you're thinking about pressure points on your fingers, we're working the left side of our pointer finger and the left side of our middle finger. Those are our 2 strongest fingers, so that's where we really want to put the strength coming through the zone. Okay, so you're still working in the same body position as the other 2 drops we already talked about. Your thumb's always the guide, so even as coming through on the peel, your thumb's guiding through. On the rollover, your thumb's guiding through here. So the earlier you can get under the ball, the more rotation you're going to have. Coming through, you want to be truly under the ball, reaching through, and letting your wrist do all the work. Again, just like the peel, you want to look to release right about your front hip, because you want all our powers coming from the front of us. You know, when we throw or when we hit, all our powers in front. If you're trying to release something back here, you're not going to have your body behind it, and you're not going to throw it as hard. So coming through, you're here under it. Sorry, get my head on the front, but under it, through the zone here, and finishing nice and loose and nice and through it through your catcher. Okay. So everyone with me still? Okay. The last one, which I'm not going to talk about long because I just can't wrap my mind around it, but I see a lot of young girls throwing it this way, is the pullback. I think I don't like it. Someone needs to convince me about it, because I do see it a lot, and you still get that same rotation and same movement, but a lot of times what you're seeing, you're still holding it the same as a peel drop. You're coming here and they're throwing it kind of off their back hip, and just like as I was saying with the other 3, all our power's coming from up here, and I can't understand why you don't want to keep going full force at your catcher. You do get, the drop spin, you do get the same movement. I just don't know why you want to go full force and then pull back on something. That's my opinion. I know it works. I don't think we're giving our pitchers enough credit when we teach them that drop ball. We're teaching them a lazy way to throw a drop ball. But it works. So that being said, so those are our 4 ways to throw a drop ball. Another way too you see is kind of throwing a peel and then pulling up on it, and I think at that point, if you just stay strong through it, you're going to have more on it and get just the same rotation, same movement on the ball. That's my opinion. So, okay. So those are the 4 ways to throw a drop. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the most common problems in throwing the drop. And, probably the most common problem in the drop's effectiveness is just your body position. Whether you're too forward, you're too neutral, or you're pulling back on it, you always want to just have them get their chin over the front foot or their head over their front foot. A lot of times I use shoulder positioning because just a lot of times you can fix a pitch just by shifting your shoulders and distributing your weight a little different. So, I think we're gonna okay, so body positioning. A lot of times they're trying to throw it here and they're reaching and you're gonna throw it too high or you're not gonna get the break, and a lot of times they're falling back on it and you can't throw a drop if you're falling back on it. Another common problem with the drop in terms of body positioning is how they're getting to the front foot. We actually have a junior pitcher transfer this year who throws a peel drop. She would show you that she throws it here and snapping down. She just throws a true peel, and that's her way of reminding herself to follow through low. She was pulling her shoulder through to get over her front foot instead of driving her legs. So she was pulling through here, which was pulling her off of her line and tightening her shoulder. So she was still getting drop spin on it, but there was no break on it because she's limiting how much she's using her arm. So once we got her to understand that you're getting out over your front leg by driving your right side through, she has a nice, pretty peel drop that just spots right on the corners. She'll create a lot of altitude, hopefully, fingers crossed. Another big problem with the drop is just a lazy snap. A lot of times you can get your body there. If you're not going to be strong and aggressive through the zone, then it doesn't even matter, which for all pitches for that matter, is if you're just going to be lazy through here, you might get the rotation, but you're not going to get a strong break. And there's nothing good about that. You never want a lazy pitcher when you have all that responsibility in the circle. Another problem with the drop is just closing the hips too early. A lot of times you'll get a cut on your inside drop or you'll miss right over the plate, and that's just because you're closing your hips too early. So a lot with our girls, I'll just have them concentrate on their right leg and driving through their left leg, their right toe through their left heel as fast as they can. So they're working here. A lot of times if they start to close, I'll have them not close their hips. So it's more of a natural closing instead of a pushing through. Because right when they start to push through, again, your shoulder's gonna tighten and you're not gonna get a good rotation and you're gonna have a lot of cut. Oh, and then just the last thing too is just the hand position. So with the drop ball, with the peel drop, one of the big problems that you'll see is if they're too behind the ball. So if they're just behind the ball coming through the zone and trying to work it all there, they're still gonna get a drop spin, drop rotation, but not a lot of break. You wanna have be a little on top of the ball here. So just like I was saying earlier, you wanna lead your thumb through the zone. My hand's a little on top of the ball, and then I'm peeling off this way. Strong throw. Those are the biggest problems I've seen. So next thing I'm just gonna go over just some misconceptions with the drop. This is something I think that you hear a lot is the need to shorten your step on the drop to get the drop spin and the drop break. Again, I think we're selling our pitchers short. I think you should never try and fix a pitch by pulling back on it or not going full force. So instead of shortening your step, which I think also is very hard for a pitcher to judge, it's like, okay, I'm driving out as far as I can. On this one, I need to come a couple inches more, so then all you're thinking about that, so you're not thinking about the pitch. Instead, I just think that you can explode out and get your body in position. Never pull back on a pitch to fix it.
Can you show us the difference in a fastball and drop in your position? Of, like, you're coming over the front. What do you do in a fastball?
Fastball's more neutral.
Okay.
So I'm coming through here. I always threw my fastball a little more like a drop. So I was a little more forward. Your pitchers will be more neutral here and snapping and have a loose wrist through. Same thing in the front. Yeah, your hand will be a little more behind the ball. It just depends on how you throw your fastball. We don't throw a ton of fastballs because, again, like I was saying, you can just be a little more aggressive with it and get a drop spin on it, and then you can use it to create a ground ball. So you're a little more behind the ball with your hand, a little more neutral with your body weight and on your step. You'll have probably a looser wrist through, a looser snap through, instead of a hard aggressive snap at the bottom. So another misconception is that you can't throw the drop hard to get it to break. And I can't even really talk about that one just off of what I just said. I think you should always go as hard as you possibly can. Hard with your step, hard through the catcher. And if you're doing everything right with your body position and your snap, you're gonna get a ton of break on it if you're just setting yourself up right. And just another one too, I was talking to my sister, I was telling her to drop ball pitcher, so she does the same thing, she's a coach in the Chicago area. Another misconception is that a true peel isn't a good drop. And I couldn't disagree more. Again, like I was saying at the beginning, it's not a glamorous pitch, so you don't see a lot of break on it, but it's such a purpose pitch. So if you're throwing it, you're committing it to it, using your whole body, snapping the crap out of that thing. I mean, it's so easy on your body to line up and be disciplined with. So I actually think we're almost done, so I know this is gonna fly by. Each drop probably has a different purpose, so finding the drop that fits your pitcher the best is just kind of what you want to get out of it. If you want, it's harder, you can throw the peel drop harder than you could a rollover. So if you want more rotation, more break, but not as hard of a pitch, I would go with a rollover. If they can, relax through and really trust their wrist and have a good wrist through it. If you want something just hard and low that they can just power through, then I would go with a peel, true peel. If they're really struggling to stay behind it and really snap that off, I would go with a rolling peel, just because that's going to teach them to stay low through the ball. And again, I wouldn't teach the pullback, but that is just my opinion, because you do see a lot of peel backs around here. Some drills for the drop. For peel, there aren't as many drills probably, but you can just line up a rope, probably about maybe 5 to 8 feet in front of the plate, have them try and skim the top of the rope and have it drop below. That's something that your pitcher can actually see the break, which a lot of pitchers don't see spin, don't see break. So that's something that gives them a visual and maybe help them buy into it a little bit more. With the rolling peel, you can set up different plates distances. So with the real plate, you can maybe come out 5 feet, put another plate, and have her try and hit the shorter plate on a bounce. Or you can put it further back. Okay. You can put it behind the real plate and have her hit that on a bounce. That's just making her understand her snap and her wrist action and her release point. You can also do that with the rollover. I have Carolisa do that a lot. I'll challenge her, so I'll put it about halfway, so she really has to snap it off, and then feel staying through it a little longer and a little longer until she really gets right on those plates. Another one for the rollover is to put like a milk crate right in front of your left foot and have them just snap it off right into the crate. So they really have to think about being really strong over the ball. Obviously it's very exaggerated, but it makes them snap as hard as they possibly can and as quick as they can through that zone. So they should bounce it right into the crate. And then the last one I have for a rollover is to lay a bucket on its side with the opening towards the pitcher right behind the plate and have them work to bounce it into that bucket. When they get really good, they can try and stand the bucket up. That's advanced. But anytime they can work to bounce it into that bucket, it just kind of gives them that visual of the break that's dropping off right at the plate. Does anyone have any questions? I feel like I just talked a mile a minute. Yes?
Where do you all have your catcher sitting up on a drop ball? Are they sit up on a corner or do they sit up?
We move with the motion, so they'll give the sign, and as she starts, then they'll kind of creep out.
So they'll creep on.
Yeah, we have our catchers very close to the batter. Some would argue maybe a little too close.
Sure.
So they're getting it for the break. So anytime you can give the umpire a better look.
You trying to raise their knees?
Say again?
Are you trying to raise the batter's knees?
Yeah. Depends on the count.
Are batters moving up in the box line?
Sometimes they do. Moves up or back. So if they're going to move up to try and get it before it breaks, going to move back if they're going to let it go and try and lay off. Something that you can do with that is just have your pitchers throw to different distances.
Whatever the batter.
Yeah, so put a plate right in front of the real plate and have her throw a drop to that plate. Move your catcher up, have her throw a drop to your catcher at that distance, like a girl standing at the front of the plate and move it back. So they have to get used to staying through it a little longer.
So where's the ideal spot to land it? Like an outside corner, or do y'all?
We work both sides. An inside drop is an incredibly hard pitch to hit for anybody, because just with that angle, so if we have a big power hitter that we're going to go at, a lot of times we'll throw an inside drop to offset anything that we might get to chase, because you have to get it so far out in front and level that it's incredibly hard to hit foul hard. So, but you have to be precise with it. You can't miss on that pitch. You can't get lazy with your snap on that pitch. But we have, one of our catchers was All-American last year, just hits the crap out of the ball. And well, hopefully I'm not putting too much information out there. She really struggles that inside pitch because she just yanks it, or she hits it into her foot. And I'm telling her, I'm throwing you an inside ball all day, because you can just work foul balls until you get something else. Get her to chase out, or get her to, not power up on another pitch. So. Any other questions?
Do you all throw a drop change curve? Do y'all teach that?
We don't. Kara Lee, our junior pitcher, threw a drop curve, and her change kind of drops curves a little bit depending on how she comes through the zone. We don't teach it, but I'm not opposed to it. As an off-speed pitch, I think if you're going to go hard, then it always helps to just stay in one direction. So you're going to get more behind it.
Effective pitch at 40 foot?
Say again, I'm sorry?
Can this be a good pitch at 40 foot?
Oh, it's a good pitch at any distance, I think.
How about how young the girls can be? What, do you have anything on the youth when they're supposed to start throwing a drop? Of course, field drops right off the bat.
Right.
Yes.
I would start a field drop right off the bat.
But a rollover, what do you think about that?
I think once they understand their body and once they're consistent with a fastball or a field drop, like for us, when we started learning, we did not get to go to another pitch until we could throw it consistently every time. So I would say once they understand their body and are consistent with their peel or their fastball, then it's a good time to start it. Maybe, yeah.
Stay close to your body. Stay close.
Yes, always staying close to your body and keeping those hips open. So hand before the hips close. And I have our girls close more naturally instead of pushing through. Otherwise it gets pretty problematic. Plus you're gonna get so much more power that way. Just staying in a line.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to softballjunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout, and wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now that last short clip, that was my daughter Amanda, and she was telling you about my online softball store, softballjunk.com. Make sure you write down the code number, FPTV30. Anytime you buy a softball bat on my website, you can enter the code at checkout and save $30. Yes, save yourself $30 on a softball bat. And you can use that code over and over and over. So if you buy a bat every year, that's $30 a year, basically forever. So make sure you write that out. You just need to remember that code, okay? And please, this is how I support the show. So if you wouldn't mind checking out the website, if my prices are competitive, I hope you'll buy from me. Now, I hope you enjoyed Courtney's clinic. And that's really it for today. So until next week, this is Gary Leland saying goodbye. And thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv.